Good morning, everyone. Today, we will be playing the Ravnixtravaganza Phantom Supreme Draft. So the way that this works is we open 18 packs, and out of each pack, we get to take 2 cards. And I did one of these on stream last night. You'll see it in the stream VOD if you... the next stream VOD that I upload, whenever that is. Probably Friday. And we just opened a ton of Gate Crash packs, picked Boros aggro with like War Leader Celix and Boros Charm, and while everyone else was playing bounce lands and tap lands in 5 colors, we ran them over immediately. So Clan Defiance is like a great big Gruul Fireball. There's also a 1000 Lashes. Both of which are pretty excellent removal. Clan Defiance can kill 2 things and hurt our opponent or a Planeswalker. And 1000 Lashes is an arrest that they lose life every turn. So I think I'm going to take both of those, and we'll kind of keep that in mind as we look at our next couple of packs here and decide on what we're going to do. Mugging is also was actually also pretty good removal, and Simic Charm is fantastic as well, being an unsummoned Giant Growth or Heroic Intervention type effect. Alright, pack 2. Pack 2, we have Conjured Currency. No thanks. There is Skymark Rock. Whenever it attacks, you may return target creature defending player controls with toughness 2 or less to its owner's hand. An Avenging Arrow. Gorehouse Chainwalker. Gorehouse Chainwalker is one of the best aggro creatures in this entire format. So we have the option of taking something like Skymark Rock or Search Warrant and going like Esper Control, or Gorehouse Chainwalker, and then like Slum Reaper and getting aggressive. We could also take Skymark Rock and Search Warrant. Oh no, Search Warrant. I was thinking this was Dramatic Rescue for some reason. I'm not going to take Search Warrant. So we're going to take Skymark Rock and Avenging Arrow, and I think we're just going to go Esper Control. Let's see, Bedeck and Bedazzle. That's a very strong effect, very good effect. However, I think we're going to take Gateway Plaza. We can play that in any deck that we decide to play. If I'm playing Control, I think I want... If Resolute Watchdog was just a 1/3 that could attack, I think I would take that. But I think I'll take a Knight of Sorrows. It's a pretty fair creature. It does something after it dies. Like, it's not going to be bad. Okay. Clan Defiance I'm going to put in the sideboard. I'm not going to play Gruul. Not this time, anyway. Consuming Aberration. Whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land, then put those cards into the grave. I'm absolutely going to take a Consuming Aberration. That card was an intro pack rare and a absolute house in limited. We could take a Key Rune. It's not a bad Key Rune effect, but it doesn't put our opponent on a lot of pressure. There's also a Devour Flesh, which is excellent removal. It's cheap removal. And Psychic Strike. Psychic Strike is also a pretty excellent answer. I think I'm going to take Psychic Strike and Consuming Aberration. But we'll see what else happens here. Hopefully we can get the Key Runes and tap lands to make sure that we have everything we need. Okay, in this pack there's Guildscorn Ward, Prime Speaker Zagana. Not going to play Prime Speaker. I really, really doubt that we'll ever get to double green. I think I take Syndic of Tithes and Gridlock. Syndic of Tithes is a cheap spell that's very good. Can give all of our spells extra value with Extort, so I can get behind that. Okay, so now we have a Dissension Pack. So let's see what we have. I'm not as familiar with these cards. The other, like Return to Rav and newer cards, I'm very familiar with. So Shielding Plaques, target creature gains hexproof effectively, and you draw a card. That's pretty good. Target creature can block any number of creatures this turn. Minister of Impediments. 3 mana tap target creature. 3 mana 2/2 flyer with, as long as it's enchanted, it can do 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. We don't really return anything to our own hand, unfortunately, because we don't have any bounce lands or anything, which is about the only thing I could imagine we'd be playing that would do that. Sacrifice Enigma Eidolon, target player mills 3 cards. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you may return it from your graveyard to your hand. This actually seems like fairly decent value. Because we have a number of multicolored spells, we kind of have a mill sub-theme going. Maybe we do like Esper Mill. I think Minister of Impediments is probably the best card for us here. Okay, pack number 7. By the way, if you get Return to Ravnica packs, Azorius Arrestor, absolutely critical for any sort of aggressive deck. This card's nuts. Alright. I'll probably be taking Arrest here. Let's see, Fairy Imposter, sacrifice it unless you bounce a creature you control. That probably is not going to work. We don't have that many creatures, but we need actually quite a bit more creatures. Sundering Growth would be okay for the sideboard. Paralyzing Grasp is like another arrest effect. We could just take Arrestor, it wouldn't be bad. Maybe we do that. Yeah, let's try that. I actually think Detain is quite good. Alright, another Dissension Pack. This time it has a breeding pool. And if I had gone Simic, we could have had quite a few things that would have been sweet. I think Overrule is actually going to be quite good. Gaining a bunch of life and countering a spell is probably where this deck wants to be. Simic Signet isn't bad. It's a blue Signet, but blue is like one of our secondary colors, and it only fixes for one color. See, Entropic Eidolon. Beacon Hawk. Alright, I think I'll take Beacon Hawk. It's a fair creature, it flies, and we can untap like Minister of Impediments to use it offensively and defensively. Oh man, Unflinching Courage. If you ever get the chance, definitely play Unflinching Courage. Notion Thief. That is a flash creature in the colors that we're trying to play. And there's an Azorius Cluestone, and we pretty desperately need some fixing. I'm kind of sad that we can't take Opal Lake Gatekeepers here, or Ubulsar Gatekeepers, but we have no guild gates. I guess we have one. These cards I think are still better. Alright, I will take an Orzhov Guild Gate. I think that's fair. Sunspire Gatekeepers is alright. Mind Static is a little expensive. Man, Turn and Burn. I remember playing that. And there's just a Windrake. Might just take Windrake. Tapland and Windrake is fair. Forest Walk and Protection from Green. If we play against a green deck, they'll probably be really sad. Problem is, most people that I've played against in this format have been playing nothing but gates. And this is very specific mana to start the game with. I think we just take the Guild Gate and the Windrake. Packrat! Packrat's so good. So we're kind of heavy in 4 and 3. We need more 2s, a couple of 1s, and then maybe like some higher spells. So definitely Packrat is getting picked here. The question is what else is. An Action Injunction is sort of a cantrip that can temporarily deal with a creature for a turn. We could take Rootborn Defenses because we do have Packrat to make tokens, so like the Populate's not totally useless, and it's a really good combat trick. Hussar Patrol, having a flash creature is nice. That would give us 2 flash creatures when we have at least 2 counterspells, I think. Yeah, Psychic Strike and Overrule. The other option is, like I said, an Action Injunction or Keening Apparition. I think I take the Patrol. It's not an amazing creature, but the flash is, I think, going to matter. Okay, another pack that I have really no idea about right now, so let's go through these one by one, shall we? Mimeofacture. Choose target permanent and opponent controls. Search that player's library for a card with the same name and put it under the battlefield under your control. Then they shuffle their library. I really doubt people are going to have duplicates of their good permanents. Aetherplasm. Whenever it blocks a creature, you may bounce it to your hand. If you do, you may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield, blocking that creature. Not bad. Order of Stars. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color and has protection from the chosen color. That actually seems sweet in a control deck. Shrieking Grotesque. Black mana was spent to cast it, your opponent discards a card. Runeboggle is daze plus draw. I don't like Pay to Hydrox. I think I'm going to take this and Castigate. Cry of Contrition and Mourning Thrall are not bad, but I think these 2 cards are going to be a lot crazier for us. Okay. We have a Return to Ravnica pack. Basilica Bell Haunt would be crazy, but it is very, very cost intensive, and we only have 5 packs left, so if we take it, we really need to be going for fixing. There's more removal in the form of Summary Judgment, which I actually really like. Bethnic Biomancer is reasonable. It's a 1-mana creature that we can get a little more value out of. I think I'm going to take Summary Judgment, though. Okay. Power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. Oro Skilled Mage, target creature gains haste or first strike. There's a Farseek. Disembowel. This is not bad removal, but Ribbons of Night is actually better. It's effectively a War Leader's Helix that cantrips at sorcery speed, but only hits creatures. I will take a Ribbons of Night. And I'm thinking about Disembowel. Yeah, I don't think Lurking Informant, Fate Sealing my opponent is good. I'll take Disembowel, it's hard removal. Okay, we have another, I think, is this Guild Pact? I think this is Guild Pact. I don't recognize these old ones as much as I should. So Skeletal Vampire, when enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 Black Bat tokens. Oh, this was the cheapest card in the original Modern Masters. So this is an upgraded Pillory of the Sleepless, and Pillory of the Sleepless is a crazy good card. Souls of the Faultless. Whenever it's dealt combat damage, you gain that much life, and they lose that much life. It seems good, but I think... Okay, we're definitely taking Pillory of the Sleepless. And maybe Douse in Gloom for more removal. It's really good removal, especially versus an aggressive deck, which is what we would need. Skeletal Vampire might actually be decent in a control deck. I like Crypt Wailing, but I don't think we have enough creatures to make that work. I'm going to take Douse in Gloom. Oh man, I run this guy in my zombie EDH deck, Unliving Psychopath. He's fun. He is repeatable removal, technically. He just requires a lot of black mana, which I don't think we'll actually have. Seal of Doom, I actually really like. And there's an Azorius Chancery. Plumes of Peace. Forecast to tap. Vision Skynes, I don't want to give my opponent cards. Yeah, we'll take Azorius Chancery and Seal of Doom. We do have to be careful with how many tap lands we have, though. Alright. What are we dealing with here? Response and Resurgence. We can actually splash Resurgence off of Gateway Plaza, and Response is 5 damage to an attacking creature for double white. There's a Whisper Agent, an Unexplained Disappearance. I like taking Response Resurgence, and I guess Whisper Agent is the easiest creature for us to cast. It also has Flash. So we're going to take those. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control by sources you control. I don't think that's very good. Dive Bomber Griffin. 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Perplex counter target spell unless its controller discards its hand. Courier Hawk. Well, I like Remand. It's a 2-mana 1/1 that when it dies we draw a card. I also like Perplex. This one's kind of tough. Yeah, I'm going to take those two. Cool, and that was our last pack. So now, let's take a look at what we're dealing with, shall we? We definitely need to cut some non-creatures. And we need to get down to about 24 cards in deck, which means we have to cut 8 cards. So we're going to start with the non-creatures. I think Gridlock is... It can buy us a turn against an aggressive deck, but I don't think it's going to be good in the general case. So Remand, Psychic Strike, Perplex, and Overrule are all counter spells that are pretty fantastic. Avenging Arrow destroys a creature that dealt damage this turn. A lot of our other removal we can use to prevent ourselves from taking damage, so I'm going to get rid of that. I think Perplex probably can just go away, because if at the point where my opponent is like empty-handed, it's not good, I think. Let's see. Knight of Sorrows is actually one of our worst creatures. I took that pretty early, but the other ones that aren't great probably include Azorius Arrestor. Enigma Eidolon might be getting ambitious. We do have a lot of multicolored spells, though, so it is a win condition. But it's 4 mana for a 2/2. It does recur for free, and we have a lot of multicolored spells. I don't know. I don't want to go much lower than this, though, for creatures, even though we have Pack Rat, which is amazing. I can't believe we got Pack Rat. I'm expecting you to do work, Pack Rat. Alright, we gotta cut 2 cards. Considering limited, I think Remand's probably actually really good in limited here, because my opponent's probably going to tap out for a threat, and that just buys us a whole turn. Douse and Gloom we can bring in versus aggressive decks, and we just need to cut 1 more card. Probably needs to be a non-creature card, so what is our worst non-creature spell? Probably Summary Judgment. Like, it's not bad, but it has to deal damage to tapped creatures, and the rest of our removal doesn't care. Except maybe response, but that has the upside of winning the game. Alright, let's combine groups. We'll run these 3 lands and then add basics. No mountains. Alright, so this gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 white sources. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black sources. It actually seems really nice. I think we've hit all of the breakpoints on mana. Though we might not need so many white sources. I might drop a plains, actually. Hang on. We only need double white for Basilica Bell Haunt. We also need double black for that. And we have a Clue Stone. So if I cut a plains, I can add a swamp. Because we have 2 double black spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 white sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue sources. Okay, I like this. Let's do it. Hopefully we don't just get immediately destroyed by people playing Burning Tree Emissary Tron. Alright, I would love to play first. I can definitely work with this. I think Pack Rat has the potential to win games by itself. Alright, I kind of wish this was a Plains, so we could play this Order of Stars, but at the same time, playing it after we know what our opponent's playing is better. So we're going to start Island, pass the turn. Opponent starts Plains. We draw an island, play a Chancery, pick up the island, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Plains into a Gruul Signet. We draw Whisper Agent. So, play an island, pass the turn. We're going to Whisper Agent on my opponent's end step. This does let us surveil and manipulate our top deck. Opponent plays a Zhur-Taa Druid and a Boiler Works. So, my opponent is playing like 5 colors. I see red, green, blue, and white. Orzhov Guildgate. I'm actually going to put that into the gray. Well, no, I'll put it on top. So play Guildgate, go to combat, attack for 3. Okay. No blocks for my opponent. And then we'll play a Wind Drake. Pass the turn. The biggest problem that I've seen with people playing this format is, like I said, they're playing all tap lands. So imagine if you were playing with a Sphere of Resistance and your opponent wasn't. It's important, like, fixing is important. And being able to cast your powerful spells is important. But at the same time, like, playing with all of your lands tapped really sucks. Especially if your opponent is not. So we could play Pack Rat, hold up Pack Rat activation here. I kind of like that. We could also just play Order of Stars and name red. Because I doubt my opponent has strictly green removal. Or white removal, even. You know, I didn't come here to not play Pack Rat, so we're going to play Pack Rat, attack for 2. Hit my opponent to 15, and pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays an Aeromunculus and a Plains. They go to combat, they attack for 5, no blocks. They can't adapt Aeromunculus, they don't have enough mana, because they need blue mana for that. So, pitch an island, Mega Rat, untap, we draw Plains. So, play a Plains, go to combat, attack with everybody. We're going to discard Minister of Impediments and an island, and then play Order of Stars on red. So opponent blocks down the Wind Drake, that's fine. Oh, actually, we can't play Order of Stars this turn. My bad, I miscalculated. That's okay, though. Okay, opponent War Leader Celix is a Pack Rat. It still takes 3. I think next turn we just activate Pack Rat twice and swing. If we draw removal, like, the only way we wouldn't do that is we drew, like, Ribbons of Night. Because then that lets us draw a card, gain life, kill their biggest threat. Like, that would be huge. Opponent does have blue mana again, so they can adapt Aeromunculus, but they're going to get aggressive with it. They might have something that could untap it. 6 mana. 7 mana, Siege Worm, and another Boiler Works. Picking up a Plains, we untap, we draw a Swamp. So we make these all 5/5s. That's lethal, isn't it? They block here, we kill both of those. They take 8. Okay, no, they'd be at 5. Well, like I said, I don't see a reason to not do that. Go to combat, see how my opponent blocks. Okay, pitch a Swamp. Pitch Order of the Stars. Opponent takes 10 and goes to 3. I did not expect to get to keep this many pack rats. Okay, opponent plays a District Guide. Well, they'll have to block everything, or they lose. So they're going to lose all of their creatures, and we're going to lose a pack rat. Man, rat is so good. I don't know. There's not a lot of spells that in this format will actually answer pack rat. I'm not even going to cast Castigate. Like I could and get better information, but we have to kill the Siege Worm because my opponent could have Boros Charm or something that gives like a Assault and Battery or whatever it's called, where they gives it +1/+1 and double strike. The red-green split card. Okay, opponent pings us for 1. We make all our dudes 5/5s. We kill their entire team and lose 1 rat. Then pass the turn. Short of like Merciless Eviction, which they don't have black mana for, I don't know what they're gonna do. Or the Orzhov board wipe. I guess there's actually quite a number of board wipes in this format, isn't there? Because there's Supreme Verdict. There's at least one Pyro, the Gates Ablaze. The old Orzhov, like double black, single white, 5 mana Wrath that I can't remember the name of. There's Kaya's Wrath, Merciless Eviction. So Wraths exist in this format. Yeah, we're just gonna run it back. I think we're set up fine in order to beat them. Most of our like sideboard is going to be versus aggressive decks anyway. Alright, I will keep this. Opponent starts tap land. We start Swamp. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island into a Coiling Oracle. Getting a Boiler Works. Okay. So I'm gonna play an island instead of the Chancery because I want to be able to have remand this turn. Because my opponent did ramp fairly hard there. Aeromunculus. I will remand an Aeromunculus. We draw Plains, which is quite good. So play Chancery, pick up Island, pass the turn. And, oh shoot, we're going to discard the island. We don't need double blue. Opponent plays a Streetbreaker Worm. Well, luckily we have just the thing for this. We could Ribbons of Night it, but I think it's worth arresting. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Aeromunculus and a tap land. Gets in for 1. We untap. We draw an island, play a Plains. We'll be wasting 1 mana, but we're going to play Basilica Bell Haunt. Opponent has to discard, and we gain life. They discard a Plains. Pass the turn. They adapt Aeromunculus and play an Elves of Deep Shadow and a land. Once again, nothing that we're actually scared of. We untap, we draw Wind Drake. Okay, go to combat. Attack for 3. And we're going to Ribbons of Night here. Because we have the 2-color mode, we get to draw. And there was a possibility we drew the Orzhov Guildgate, which is why I did this before playing an island. Alright, pass the turn. So much removal. I'm really happy with how this deck is turning out right now. Opponent plays a Warleader Celix. Takes care of our only threat, that's fine. Draw Plains, play a Plains. Play Syndic of Tithes. Play Skymark Rock. And we will extort. Look at that, everybody's back to 20. I think black is the only color of mana my opponent's not playing, so Seal of Doom is great. Opponent plays a Zerta Swine and a Plains. We untap and get a Pillory of the Sleepless. So put that there. And extort. Okay, opponent goes to combat. We will attack and attack. Bouncing Elves of Deep Shadow. Pass the turn. I'm going to try and get maximum extort value out of this. Okay, opponent plays a Forest and a Warleader's Helix. Sure. They replay Elves of Deep Shadow. Okay, they get in for 1, that's fine. This might seem like a bit of a waste, but I'm going to disembowel this and then extort. Untap. We draw Notion Thief. That sounds like a lot of fun, but it can wait a turn. It's unlikely my opponent top decks a draw spell. Opponent keeps losing life due to Pillory of the Sleepless. Skarg Guildmage. This opponent can animate lands. They animate a plains. This is till end of turn, yeah? Okay. They get in for 4, no blocks. We draw Psychic Strike, so Seal of Doom. Extort. Kill Zerta Guildmage. Attack for 4. Leave up Psychic Strike. Oh man. Take my opponent to 7. This is a really strong control deck. We have a lot of life gains, so many answers for like any situation. Foundry Champion would be good. Emphasis on wood. So fun fact, I lost a 150-person tournament to Foundry Champion because my opponent had just enough mana to pump its power to 10 and then give it double strike with Boros Charm and kill me from 20 when my opponent was dead next turn. Alright, well that's round 1 in the bag. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, round 2, here we go. Can't keep this. Much better. I absolutely can keep this. I'm gonna put back, I think, Psychic Strike, honestly. Okay, opponent starts Dimir Guildgate. We will start Plains. Pass the turn. Ah, yes. Pack Rat. Do we counter with our own Pack Rat? I don't think we do. We're just going to play a Gateway Plaza. And I kind of have to hope that my opponent does something other than making a rat token this turn. Because we do have a removal spell for the rat. No, they're making a rat. Yep. And they discard a Drake. Get in for 2. We draw an Orzhov Guildgate. Play a Swamp. Disembowel the real rat. Pass the turn. So next turn we can play Beacon Hawk and an Orzhov Guildgate. I think we have enough removal to actually deal with an opponent's Pack Rat. And I'm glad I put away Psychic Strike. Bounce lands with Pack Rat is very good. Yeah, opponent gets in for 2. We untap. We draw an island, so play Orzhov Guildgate. Play Beacon Hawk. Pass the turn. I don't think I chump. Okay, opponent plays a Dimir Locket. Actually, I think I do chump. Opponent makes a rat. Wow, Primordial. We go to 13. We do need more removal. Okay, play Bell Haunt. Opponent can make 2 rats this turn, though. And that's going to be a problem. If I had played my own rat and like just kept activating it this whole time, we never would have caught up and we would have lost. So that's why I didn't do that. Okay. No blocks. This opponent's going to hit us for 15 down to 1. Oh no, they didn't do the other activation. Well, if we castigate them, they discard. We have 6 mana. We can play a Pack Rat, activate once, and they'll kill us. So we might as well castigate and get some more information for game 2. The opponent has not seen any blue cards, any blue mana even. So they had Dreadbore. Wow, okay. Alright, we got Pack Ratted. We drew only lands. Okay, so we'll be on the play. which means we have more removal that could potentially deal with a pack rat in the form of Summary Judgment and Douse in Gloom. I'm going to cut the Clue Stone, and I'm going to cut probably Hussar Patrol, and then pass the turn. Or, I mean, not pass the turn, run it back. Excuse me. Herp derp. Maybe we get the opportunity to pack rat our opponent this game, though our opponent does have a lot of good removal that can hit a pack rat, so we can't... I don't know if we just run it out blind on turn 2. Alright, we'll keep. Remand is very bad here, but opponent mulligans to 6. So there used to be a deck in Return to Ravnica Limited where you could just play a pack rat and 39 swamps. And you mulliganed until you hit pack rat, because you knew no matter what you were going to draw swamps. So you never missed a land drop until you hit 3. You play pack rat on 2, and you just make pack rats every turn. And there were decks that could beat. So we start plains. Opponent mulligan to 5. It looks like they're going to play pack rat. In this case, I think what we do is we'll start Gateway Plaza, because that gives us Summary Judgment for when they attack. No, we'll play Chancery. Chancery is actually a little better, I think. Pick up plains, pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays Carnarium. This makes our play significantly better, because now Remand is online. We could play a Beacon Hawk, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to hold up Remand. So they're holding a swamp. They play Rakdos Signet, so I'm going to remand that, take them off of a little bit of mana. We untap. We draw Basilica Bell Haunt. So play Gateway Plaza. Tap a plains to pay for it. Play Beacon Hawk. Pass the turn. When it plays a swamp, 4 mana. They Wrecking Ball me? Are you kidding me? I think Wrecking Ball is an excellent card. But they just destroyed 2 of my lands. What a jerk. Alright, go to combat. Get in for 1. Luckily we top-decked a land and of mana colors that mattered. So Beacon Hawk untaps itself. Opponent plays a mountain. They replay the Signet. And they pass. Well, at my opponent's end step we get to Whisper Agent, try and find a land. So Surveil 1. Island to the top. We might get to Resurgence to kill our opponent. Cackling Flames. Alright. So Whisper Agent down. Top deck an island. Play an island. And play Skymark Rock. Opponent will attack our opponent for 1. Untap Beacon Hawk. We need to draw another white and another black source to play Basilica Bell Haunt. 5 mana. Wrecking Ball number 2. My opponent has multiple land destruction spells. Oh my gosh. Okay, well. We draw Seal of Doom. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Oh, I should have probably taken out Seal of Doom, considering the number of black spells my opponent has. Well, play Seal of Doom. It might nab a red creature. Okay, they play a swamp. Opponent is starting to run out of cards, which is good. We draw Ribbons of Night, which if we ever actually cast it will be amazing. Attack for 1. Pass the turn. I don't know why my opponent didn't do that when we were tapped out. But I guess they're just holding on to it for as long as possible, which I can respect. Alright, Swamp. Swamp is really good. Go to combat. Attack for 1. If my opponent sacks Seal of Fire, I will pump the toughness of Beacon Hawk. Simply because we're not doing anything else for a while. Okay, untap Beacon Hawk. Okay, opponent draws and plays a tap land. Passes, we untap. Draw plains. Play a plains. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Untap Beacon Hawk. And then play Basilica Bell Haunt. Make our opponent discard, and we'll gain 3 life. Opponent's had 2 cards in hand for quite a while, so we make them discard a land. Opponent can now seal a Fire Beacon Hawk if they want. I kind of expect them to. They do not. They could draw more damage and throw Seal of Fire plus another burn spell at the Bell Haunt. Okay, opponent Dreadbore's Bell Haunt plays a tap land. We untap. Draw Orzhov Guildgate. This is what I get for going down on my number of creatures. Alright. Get in for 1. Well, opponent will not be resolving a threat of any kind for a very long time, considering the amount of removal that we have and the quality of removal that we have. Okay. Opponent kept a card in hand, so it's time to cast a gate. Macabre Waltz. Yep. Well, we got rid of a non-land card. This might be the legendary 20-turn clock. Oh, man. Alright, 3 mana. 2 mana. Basilica Screecher. Alright. Douse in Gloom. Untap. We draw a swamp. Play a swamp. And now I think any lands we draw after this we're just going to hold in hand because we do have a Pack Rat. And now we have enough mana to play and activate Pack Rat twice. So. Okay. Go to combat. Attack for 1. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the only damage we've done to our opponent directly has been with this Beacon Hawk, which means it has connected 10 times. It is now turn 14. Alright, opponent has 2 cards in hand they're not playing. We draw Consuming Aberration. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Untap Beacon Hawk. And yeah, let's try and speed up this clock a little, shall we? Play Consuming Aberration. I bet you my opponent's got a counterspell. Because there's not a lot of non-land cards they could have drawn that they didn't play, unless they're doing the same thing we are, and now they're holding lands for the eventual Pack Rat. But Consuming Aberration is going to end this game very fast if they don't have a removal spell for it. And considering they've used Dreadbore, Wrecking Ball, and Cackling Flames. Alright, opponent plays Gateway Shade. They can make it a 5/5 by tapping untapped gates they control. But this is going to be much larger than 5/5. Well, hang on. 1, 2, 3. They can make it an 8/8. Well, as long as Consuming Aberration mills more than 2 cards, it's fine to attack. Oh, actually, we can Resurgence. So they tap a mountain to pay for that. We can Resurgence, give this first strike, and attack more than once. That would be nuts. Because this is when it attacks, right? Not when it... Oh, whenever you cast a spell. Oh, okay. Well, we're doing it. We're living the dream. Alright, Resurgence. Opponent has to mill. Ooh. They have Niv Mizzet? Well, we have a 12/12 with first strike that's going to attack twice. Go to combat. I never thought I would have a Consuming Aberration on board and then cast an additional combat spell. I hope that casting that in the first main phase doesn't make a difference as far as how I think that works. Okay. So now the question is, do we remove Seal of Doom in favor of something like Avenging Arrow? Or do we keep the Seal of Doom? I think it is better to have the Avenging Arrow than the Seal. The Seal is a lot more powerful. It's just, I don't know if my opponent's playing any creatures that aren't black. Alright, I'm tired of thinking about this, we're just running it back. Ooh, Pack Rat. I'll keep. Opponent has a ton of removal though, so running Pack Rat out on turn 2 is dangerous. But if it works, it's going to be amazing. Opponent did mulligan to 6, so they're starting with a mountain. We start Swamp. We will need to draw a land. Opponent plays an island. We do draw a land. Play a swamp. Play Pack Rat. Opponent plays a swamp. Play Gateway Shade. Alright. Commence the rattening. Oh, I should have attacked there. My bad. So the question is, what do we discard? And I think we start by discarding Minister of Impediments. Opponent attacks with Gateway Shade. For some reason, I thought this was a defender. They play an island and a Keymaster Rogue. Okay. Pitch Minister of Impediments. Make a rat. Untap. We draw a Windrake. Go to combat. There is no Windrake. There is only rat. Attack for 4. Opponent blocks the token. Discard a Windrake. Kill the rogue. So are they replaying Gateway Shade, or do they have removal? We need to start top-decking lands. They mill themselves and draw 2 cards. Milling 2 lands. And they bounce a swamp to a Carnarium. We untap, we draw a swamp. Swamp is good. Go to combat. Attack. Before damage is dealt, I think I discard Notion Thief. It's unlikely my opponent has more than 1 draw spell like that. We'll hit our opponent for 6 and take them to 11. But they gotta have something good here. They play a swamp. They play Basilica Screecher. We untap. We draw Overrule. Well, go to combat. Attack. No blocks for our opponent. So discard Overrule. Hit them for 12. Nope, opponent has removal. Wrecking Ball. Okay, so opponent only takes 6. Only takes 6. Goes to 5. But they're still in a pretty sticky spot. They could play a blocker and extort, and that would keep them alive. But that's all that does. Basically, unless they have a sweeper, they're probably screwed. Gates Ablaze wouldn't do it. They don't have enough gates on the battlefield. I don't think there's any Echoing Truth effects in any of the Ravnica sets, though I could be wrong. I know there's a Radiance spell that deals damage to all creatures with the same color. We're not going to get Razia's Purification or anything like that. Flux Charger. I guess there's Izzet Staticaster, but that's way beyond, like, unless they can give it, like, Bladebrand Death Touch. Alright, and then they play Gateway Shade. Alright, well, we draw Gateway Plaza, so play Gateway Plaza. Pay for it. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. And we'll go ahead and make a rat, discarding probably Bell Haunt. Opponent blocks and blocks. Goes to 1. So now if we draw any cheap spell, Syndic of Tithes is lethal. Ribbons of Night helps shore up anything that they could play that's threatening with like lifelink. But I think our opponent got ratted. I don't know if there's any fogs in those colors. I guess we'll find out. Go to combat. Attack. They could have 2 removal spells, and then double block. But our opponent does not, and so we take round 2 off of the Strength of Pack Rat, only losing a game to the Strength of Pack Rat. So I'll see you guys in round 3. I think these drafts are really fun. I don't know if they're as interesting to watch for people, but I really like this format. It lets people draft limited decks with higher power, which is something I'm in favor of. Like, it's one reason I like to play Vintage Cube, is because you play decks that are absurdly powerful. So, like, drafting like this lets you play higher power decks and do crazy things. And sometimes you get Pack Rat and win. Alright. Round 3, here we go. I would love to play first. I think I can make this work, so we'll keep. The only castable spell we currently have is an Arrest, but I'm okay with that. Any black source or blue source gets us to Whisper Agent. Opponent starts Swamp. Alright, there's a blue source. Play a blue source. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Mounted. I see my opponent is also on the playing mostly on tap lands, which is good. Okay, we draw Beacon Hawk. Play a Plains, pass the turn. We now have Overrule for 1 or Whisper Agent. Overrule for 1, of course, only working if my opponent taps their lands only, or does not otherwise leave up 1 mana. 3 mana for a Rakdos Ixpitter. Okay, well we can't overrule that, but we can arrest it. Spoken like true Azorius. Alright, Flash Whisper Agent. Syndic of Tithes. To the bottom. I don't think we need it this time. Untap. We draw an island. Play an island. We're attack for 3. We've got Hussar Patrol. And I think leaving that up in Overrule is much stronger. Okay, opponent plays a land. Basilica Bell Haunt, floating a mana. Well, Overrule for 2. Okay, my opponent does not have a Mugging or a Seal of Fire that they can use that mana on. We draw a Response Resurgence, so play Plains, go to combat, attack for 3. I think this creature is worth arresting. It allows us to play Beacon Hawk. Yeah, we'll do that. So arrest the Ixbitter. Okay, opponent pings us and our creature for 1. They could have blocked and done that to kill our guy in exchange for their Ixbitter, but they did not. Okay. So, my opponent played a Mountain and played Lizolda Blood Witch, and sacked a creature, dealing 2 damage to our Whisper Agent and drawing a card. Seems pretty good. We draw Order of Stars, so I'm going to play Order of Stars and name Red, then we'll get in for 1. If my opponent attacks, we do have Response, technically, but I played Order of Stars. I shouldn't have played Order of Stars. We can still flash Hussar Patrol to block, but Lizolda is a problem. She generates a lot of value. Okay, opponent plays an Orzhov Key Rune. They go to combat. Pass. So, flash Hussar Patrol. We untap. We draw Cluestone. Play the Cluestone. I'm purposefully not leaving up blue-white, though I don't know why. Oh yeah, no, because I want as many white mana as possible to protect Beacon Hawk. So Beacon Hawk untaps itself, and we pass. It also makes for an easier time casting Response if my opponent were to attack with Lizolda. Okay, opponent plays a Syndic of Tithes. If they sack it, they just draw, though, I think. No, because it's not black. If they sack it, it doesn't do anything. Luminous Bonds. They will be able to extort. Okay, that's fine. Opponent still can't attack. We untap. We draw a swamp. Alright, sack Cluestone and draw. Skymark Rock. Go to combat. Get in for 1. Okay. Untap the Beacon Hawk and play the Rock. So now, if we attack with the Rock, we have the option of bouncing Lizolda. But that's kind of dangerous because our opponent can repeatedly extort off of Lizolda if we do that. So I'm actually more tempted to bounce Syndic of Tithes than anything else. Opponent plays Plains. 7, 8 mana. Razia. Oh no. Next 3 damage that would be dealt to target creature you control is instead dealt to another target creature you control. Okay, we're taking 6 this turn. Kind of expect my opponent to block and then activate. Oh, we can't castigate and do what we were going to do. Alright, go to combat. Attack for 3. We're going to bounce Lizolda. So my opponent can block. They can't activate Razia to move the damage to Syndic of Tithes instead. But, oh, they can actually move the damage to our creatures. Well, we kill it in response. With response, thankfully. I really hope my opponent does not have a way to buy Razia back, because Razia is incredibly powerful. They play a Mountain, so we know Lizolda is in their hand. They play Lizolda and extort. They attack for 2. No blocks. And they Wrecking Ball the Rock. Sounds like a wrestling move. Alright, we draw Psychic Strike. So we'll castigate, see what their last card in hand is. Probably the only time the spell will have any amount of value. It's a disembowel. Well, we have a Psychic Strike, which is nice. Go to combat, attack for 1. Untap Beacon Hawk. We're going to have to rely on drawing something. Like Ribbons of Night would be insane. But our opponent could sack whatever we target with it, which would be a problem. Okay, opponent animates a Key Rune. So pump the toughness of Beacon Hawk. And we'll block like this. Opponent gains 1 life, and we take 2. They pass. We draw. Swamp. I'm going to hold the swamp for now. Go to combat. Attack for 1 with Beacon Hawk. Untap Beacon Hawk. Now we can double pump Beacon Hawk and block Syndic of Tithes. Okay, opponent plays a land, animates the Key Rune. Goes to combat and attacks. Pump Beacon Hawk twice. And then block Syndic of Tithes, so we only take 1. Opponent doesn't cast anything else. We untap. Draw Minister of Impediments. Okay, now is the time to play that. Play Minister of Impediments. Go to combat. Attack for 1 with Beacon Hawk. Basically just keeping the lifelink from the Thrall Key Rune in check. We are only going to pump once and block the Key Rune this turn, so we can still maintain Psychic Strike at all times. Okay, pre-combat, my opponent is casting something huge. 7 mana. Hashtag scared. 8 mana. Street Spasm. They're going to extort it. I gotta Psychic Strike that, because otherwise we are completely boned. I should have let the extort trigger go off, because I think now no, they still won't have mana to animate the Key Rune. They milled Swamp and Grisly Spectacle. Well, I'm glad we got rid of a hard removal spell. Look at how many heavy mana symbols they have, and in what colors. Opponent said it wouldn't let me use the mana I had floating for extort. Definitely a bug. They attack for 2. We could trade here and keep one of our creatures. Actually, we do that. So they can kill whichever one they want, and then we could pump the toughness of our Beacon Hawk. We untap. We draw a Swamp. So go to combat. Attack with the Hawk. The good news is, right now we're kind of stable, but if my opponent draws anything, we are boned. That's a problem. We need something to deal with that problem. Okay, block. Opponent can do the whole whenever you gain life, opponent loses that much life this turn trick. And the fact of the matter is they can activate that multiple times, whether or not my opponent knows, on subsequent turns, but we need an answer for that immediately. Okay, we untap. We draw Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Basically, we have to draw Ribbons of Night, I think. But even if we do that, my opponent could sack, and then we wouldn't be able to do anything about that. Alright, pass the turn. Damn you, Lysolda. I might have to Ribbons of Night my own creature just to stay alive. And I should have named black on Order of Stars, but I was like, oh, my opponent probably has red removal. Also, my opponent still paid for the extort trigger off of their Key Rune, so it's not like that mana mattered, I don't think. And we're losing 4 life this turn. Okay. Gotta draw something really good this turn. I don't know what it is, but it's gotta be really good. Oh, Lysolda just kills us. Never mind. Was that game 1? I think that was game 1. Okay, so Douse and Gloom coming in, Summary Judgment coming in, Remand going out, and I think Seal of Doom out. No, Seal of Doom can hit Razia. I'm gonna take out the Clue Stone, I think, and try it like that. So Order of the Stars is probably going to be put on black instead of red this game if we happen to get there. The only time that's going to matter, at least that we saw, was Street Spasm, which is a huge deal. A one-sided board wipe is just absurd. We're going to keep this, and we'll start Plains. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a Swamp. We draw a Swamp, play Gateway Plaza. I think this opponent has Wrecking Ball as well. Opponent plays a Plains into a Prophetic Prism. Okay, so now we'll have Overrule for 1 available. Next turn we'll have Overrule for 2/Notion Thief. Okay, opponent plays a Mountain. Rakdos Ixbitter. I'm going to counter that. We gain 1 life. Untap. We draw Beacon Hawk. Play Plains. Pass the turn. Kind of hoping my opponent does the whole, like, mill 2 draw card plan. 4 mana. Opponent plays Dimir House Guard. Sack a creature to regenerate, and it has Transmute. Okay. At my opponent's end step, we'll flash Notion Thief. Untap. Draw Basilica Bell Haunt. And I think we're going to Ribbons of Night, just while this has no creatures to regenerate it with. I feel like that's important. We draw an island, and get in for 3. Next turn we'll be playing the Bell Haunt, almost certainly. That lets us leave up Summary Judgment. Or we can play Beacon Hawk as well. I think Summary Judgment is going to be more important, considering that my opponent will have, like, Razia mana next turn. Street Spasm X1 to kill Notion Thief. We draw Windrake. Play Bell Haunt. Opponent has to discard one of their 3 cards in hand. And we gain 3 life for up to 28. They discard a Mountain. 5 mana. Disembowel. Okay. Gonna kill that, because Vizcapa Guildmage is actually pretty strong. We draw our own Disembowel. So play Windrake, play Beacon Hawk, pass the turn. We are at a very large life total. If we draw a land, we can Disembowel Razia. They play Lizolda. We draw Seal of Doom. Okay, first things first, go to combat. Attack, attack. Hit our opponent for 3, and we'll untap Windrake. And I think we just deploy Seal of Doom and pass. Opponent Executioner Swing. Target creature that dealt damage this turn gets -5/-5. Okay, yes, it did deal damage this turn. I was like, wait a minute, did that deal damage this turn? Okay, opponent plays Plains. And go to combat, and attack for 3. We untap. We draw a Whisper Agent. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Executioner Swing's also got some pretty amazing flavor text. It's like Orzhov penalty for stealing is loss of an appendage. Read the fine print. The head is an appendage. Opponent does not attack. I think now is the time for Disembowel. If they sack and try and deal the damage to Beacon Hawk, we can pump Beacon Hawk's toughness twice. This makes all of our removal for the rest of the game better. We just lose out on playing Whisper Agent that turn. We draw a Rest, which is also excellent. So we're kind of tenuously in control right now. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Swamp. Opponent was going to cast something huge and decides against it. So it's possible that they have Razia in hand. I will keep Pillory of the Sleepless. Our opponent lost their only big sack outlet that we know of, so having these for hard removal is basically going to guarantee us the win, unless my opponent has something like another ridiculous trick they can pull out of a hat. We're going to untap the Hawk because if we're going to block with anything, it's probably the Hawk. Okay, opponent plays a Swamp. Luminous Bonds the 3/2. Okay, that does slow the clock down significantly. We untap, draw Skymark Rock. So go to combat, get in for 1. Have it untap itself. Play the Rock, pass the turn, and opponent scoops it up. We didn't have to show them these cards, which is pretty great. Alright, yeah, we'll run it back for game 3. See if we 3-0 or 2-1. It all hinges on this game, and my opponent gets to go first. Summary Judgment is our only castable card, but I think this is fine. We have a lot of things we can draw to make this hand better. Psychic Strike not being one of them. Island is good. Play an Island. This way, if we draw a Swamp next turn, we can play Psychic Strike, or Douse in Gloom, or Disembowel. Okay, opponent plays a Mountain into an Orzhov Key Rune. Come on, Swamp. Order of the Stars. Well, play Plains, play Order of the Stars, and we'll name black this time, I think. No, for some reason I'm like, still gotta be red. Feeling I'm gonna regret that. Okay, opponent plays a Syndic of Tithes, and a Spinal Centipede. When it dies, put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control. Okay, we untap. We draw 1,000 Lashes. Pass the turn. Summary Judgment gonna take out the Syndic of Tithes. Should have named black. I don't know why I was possessed to name red, but... Okay, opponent plays a Boros Signet and extorts. They go to combat. They attack for 5. Take out the Syndic. Opponent has something. Karam. Next 1 damage that would be dealt to the target creature this turn is dealt to another target creature instead. So this does kill our own Order of the Stars, but they still lose Syndic of Tithes here. Okay. Need black mana. Okay, now we need any mana. Pass the turn. Just let me rip a Swamp right off the top. I added extra swamps just for a scenario like this. 6 mana, second main for a Graven Dominator. Enters the battlefield where the creature it haunts dies. Each other creature has base power and toughness 1/1 until end of turn. Swamp! I need a Swamp. I need a Swamp very soon. Basically next turn or we're dead. Okay, opponent plays Prophetic Prism, gets to draw. Plays a Swamp. Surprised they did not animate the Key Rune. We take 7 and go to 5. Swamp. Swamp. Play a Swamp. And 1,000 Lashes, the massive flyer. Pass the turn. Opponent Grisly Spectacle to kill our Minister. Alright, we're going to 1. Opponent loses 1 life. So we need to have Ribbons of Night resolve. Oh, opponent did not animate the Key Rune. Opponent plays Lizolda the Blood Witch, which means Ribbons of Night cannot resolve. And they just sack Lizolda to deal the final bits of damage. Man, turn 8. 4 turns without drawing a land, and all we needed was a land. Either way, hey, I think this format's a ton of fun, and if you have Moto, I would try it. It's $10 to try. You just gotta win 2 matches, you'll get your entry back. It's a ton of fun. I hope they do this with other formats. I'd like to see Chaos Draft, Supreme Draft, like Chaos Supreme Draft, where you just draft out of 18 packs, you get 2 picks from each pack. I think that would be hilariously fun and awesome. Yeah, let me know if you like this content. I'll probably do a couple more just because I enjoy it so much, even if it's not popular. So if you like it, have no fear. But please leave a comment and let me know if you want to see it. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and if you follow me on Twitch, you can catch me Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!